Hello, it's Pete Ward here, and welcome to the Pete Ward Show. Today I'm coming to you live from our studio here, and it's in Auckland, New Zealand, if you're watching from anywhere else all around the world. Now, I've got a couple of browsers open. I'm on a couple of channels here, so I will be checking around the place to make sure everything is going. So what am I talking about today? We are talking about future-proofing your technology. So, future-proof your technology. Now, what is this all about, you ask me? Okay, several times over the last few weeks and longer, we've come across all sorts of situations when talking to some potential clients and sometimes some clients, and we get a lot of questions, and everyone gets a lot of questions. So I'm going to go across to the screen now, and I'm going to start talking about the type of questions we get. So I've called it "Don't Believe the Hype." Too many people really get concerned with which technology is better for your website. You know, should you get a custom template for my CMS? Should I even use a CMS? You know, should it would, and then you get into the CMS wars. You know, you've got WordPress, and then you've got Joomla, and then you've got, you know, Silver Stripe, or you know, or someone should just give it all up and use Squarespace. You know, anything like that. And then this one here, this one gets me. This has happened quite a few times. Some consultant is trying to sell me, that's you, this is the questions I get asked. Some consultant is trying to sell me his solution. And I have a friend's son, mate, daughter, can't spell, guy at work that can do it, right? Okay? Interestingly enough, this has happened so many times. We had one company who we were quoting against, and they were saying you must have, you know, a $15,000 custom template for your WordPress website, because otherwise you'll get hacked. Because all of those templates that are sitting on ThemeForest or something like that are getting updated all the time, because I use some of them and they do constantly get updated. They were basically saying you should buy our one-time template, and by goodness, by hokey, what's going to happen the first time you need to change anything in the next 3 years? You're going to go looking for them, and they're going to say, it's another $3,000 to change things, okay? That's what's going to happen, okay? Consultants are interesting. Consultants, I think, should be a lot more unbiased. They shouldn't be trying to flog their own products, because basically they come into the meeting, it's a sales meeting. But what's happening is they're sitting there with the opportunity to get paid to sell to you. And that's not cool. So if you're paying for a consultant and all they're doing is recommending their own solution, then I suggest you stop. Now, there was an interesting situation some time ago where a consultant was advising to people that, yes, don't use WordPress because it's insecure and it can get hacked. Use this other particular software, and when I go searching up and I look in their profile, it turns out they're a developer for that software. They've got interests in that software. They're basically just flogging their own barrow. So what's happening is they're not coming in, and they are not doing it in your best interests. They're doing it in their best interest, which is to make as many sales as possible and get paid to tell you what to do. Okay, we'll just pop over to asking the following questions. Now, when you're talking with these consultants and people that are trying to sell you things, ask the following questions. Do I really need a full website just yet? And you would be surprised how many people do not need a full website just yet. They might need a decent landing page with a contact information on it, a little bit about who they are, and the almighty lead generation opt-in box. Now, why is that important? It's extremely important to be able to capture leads, because leads are what turns into sales. You don't just suddenly start selling and everyone goes, oh my goodness, I want your stuff. You've got to get leads. So the next thing there is ask the following questions. What is my budget? Okay, so when you're dealing with a consultant or a web designer or someone, you're talking to them and saying, okay, look, I've only got this budget. There's a certain budget I have, and I can't go further than that. And what happens often is they go, yeah, that's really good. And then you can have this add-on and this add-on and this add-on. And so you end up well out of budget. And that's just crazy, because, you know, in some cases you don't need to spend all of that money just to get a website up there or technology. Now, interesting. I'm talking about websites because that came up, but also, email systems. Now, I put a lot of people onto Google G Suite because it really is good. And instead of losing all their mail off some SMTP server, they're future-proofed. Will this technology be supported in the future? By gosh, by hokey, yes, Gmail or the Gmail interface or the G Suite or Google is going to be well supported into a long, long future. So you got to think, okay, what's going to happen in 3 years, 5 years' time? You're spending all this money. So, if you're going to go into use some technology that suddenly you try to find someone to support it and everyone goes, oh, we don't use that anymore, then you're going to have to redo your whole infrastructure or something like that. Okay, and do I always have to come back to the same supplier? So this is something to ask the question of this person who is trying to sell you their solution. Do I always have to come back to you? Can I employ anyone in the future? Interestingly enough, with some decent plugins that are well supported on a WordPress website, you should be able to get any decent WordPress developer or WordPress designer in and take care of your website. If so many times we've seen the same situation come up, we've had to try and go in and recover the admin password because somebody doesn't know it, because the guy that set up the website now lives overseas and is incontactable. Okay, don't be like that. Use something that's going to be around for a long time and anyone can support it. And then do you want to learn yourself how to update it in the future? Perhaps you do. Perhaps you just want to get the site up and going now, and then you want to be able to tooty around adding your new blogs, adding your bits and pieces yourself in the future. You don't necessarily want to go back paying somebody constantly every time you want to change a heading. It costs you another $150 because it's a minimum hour charge. Okay, so just think about those questions. Think about what you're going to ask in the future to future-proof your technology. And
we're going to Raja saying, good morning, Lord Peakboard, sharply dressed sir.
Hello, Raja. Nice to see you.
Rob Black said burning PC. That's something you need to future-proof, obviously.
Oh, burning PC, yes. So, yes, hello, Rob. Hello, Raja. It's very nice to see you. We've got, I've got a quote coming up here. This is my quote for the day. Don't trust a consultant that is just trying to sell you their solution. That's by Pete Ward. Okay? So, that leads me on to who can you trust? Who do I trust? Trust someone with a track record. Ask to see their track record. Trust someone who can show you work. A lot of people have got to get about 3 or 4 reasonably finished WordPress websites on their portfolio. That's not good enough. You should be able to ask them to demonstrate, what, a big project, something that they've done that, is in the same budget line as what you attempt. If you've got $1 million turnover business, and then start asking you, and you want to spend $50,000 on your website, ask your developer to show you a $50,000 website. Pretty simple, and if they can't, just keep looking. We've got trust someone who recommends alternatives, and that's what I was talking about. If they're just trying to push their own barrow, then get them to present information of why Silverstripe is the best coding platform to use, or why you should use a WordPress set of plugins that they've come up with, or whatever. Is it WooCommerce? Should you go Shopify? There's all sorts of reasons why you should weigh it up for yourself, and if they're not going to give you that information, then you should still be looking for somebody else to come along and help you. And trust someone who doesn't try to upsell you all of the time. Okay, if they're constantly trying to upsell you and constantly trying to say, hey, well, you need to do this and you need this and that. Look, sometimes you need a management plan, sure, for your website and updates and everything like that. But whilst you're talking in the design phase or the consulting phase, don't, if they're always trying to sell you the management plan, you got to think, well, maybe they're really desperate for work. So, interesting. Trust someone who's happy to be questioned. And also trust someone who's recommended to you by a friend. Now, trust someone who is willing to be questioned. If you go, well, hold on a moment, because you are the customer. So you can say, well, what about this? What about that? And if they go, well, that's just not how it is, then that's a little bit of a sign there as well. You start to think, hang on a minute, you know. So someone who's willing to be questioned and willing to give you the answer, and willing, even if they say, look, I actually don't know the answer to that question, but give me a day and I'll come back with a report or with something that can answer those questions. I tell you what, if you answer, as a consultant, talking to consultants, if you happen to be listening, if you can answer people's questions and listen to them and actually give them what they want, they start to trust you, because they're like, well, that didn't cost me anything and he helped me, and now I understand a little bit better. I like this person, So that's how it all goes. Dealing with people you trust. You can download my free 8 strategies to boost your online success today. I have in there on my website, thepetewardshow.com, I have put up a list of strategies. I believe there's 8, because they cover all sorts of things. One of them is your infrastructure. One of them is your customers. One of them is the marketplace. You got to think about what the government is up to. You got to think about all of the different aspects. So there's 8 sides to the square, using the corners as well, and right in the middle, stable as anything, is your technology. So you're in your business, because you've thought of all of the things that can affect you from every single side. And it's like having all the walls of your castle all built around you, protecting you, because you didn't think, oh no, I didn't realize that could happen. And so yeah, just jump on my website there, download my free strategies. Just pop your email address in there, and I'll get you sent those as in the email, or you can download them straight from there. So that's me for the day. That's my website there, thepetewardshow.com. You can contact me at peteward@thepetewardshow.com. And I hope that's given you something when you're thinking about future-proofing your technology. I covered a lot of things there. I covered your websites. I covered ideas like G Suite for Gmail. I covered a lot of ideas like don't trust consultants who are just trying to sell you their product. Get someone who cares about you and your solutions. Work within your budget. Ask questions. Get them to answer questions and show you the work that they've done to back up the same type of money that you're willing to spend with someone, so you learn to trust them. So yeah, thanks very much. You can find my website there and follow me on Facebook. You can see me on YouTube as well. That is thepetewardshow.com. All right.
Rob Black said, thanks Pete. Okay, I won't burn my PC now.
No, don't burn your PC. I'm not even going to say get a Mac, because that starts a whole new war. But yeah, funny.
And Roger said, we have a website too, countthebathware.com. What day today? I've got the website, and here I am getting brief knowledge about projects. Thank you, Lordship.
Nice, Raj. Thanks, Rob. Okay, well, thanks very much for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you next time.